Hello and welcome to the Dennis Kucinich for President Weekly Update on Monday, October 15th. This is our latest installment on a regular series of reports to keep you informed on Dennis's race to the presidency. This past Wednesday, Dennis was back in Washington tending to his congressional duties and bringing public attention to the 5th anniversary of the vote in Congress that gave the president the authority to invade Iraq. Dennis was the only Democratic presidential candidate who voted against that authorization 5 years ago, and every appropriation to continue funding the war in the 5 years since. He's recently issued a statement challenging the Democratic leadership of the House and the Senate to force a showdown with the president and to demand that funds already appropriated to continue the war be used instead to bring all U.S. troops home beginning immediately.
Now, you know and I know that the Democratic leaders promised the American people that if the people voted Democrat, that they would take steps to get out of Iraq. As a matter of fact, that's what the 2006 election was about. It goes without saying, but it should be said, that had Democratic leaders said vote Democrat and we will keep the troops in Iraq through 2008, through 2013, as some are saying, the chance of the Democrat taking back the House and the Senate would have been very unlikely.
He also noted that Democratic voters would have every right to ask whether their party had committed fraud on the American people by making promises they had no intention to keep. The other Democratic presidential candidates, as well as the Democratic leadership of the House, are avoiding the topic completely, saying that impeachment proceedings would be a distraction from other more important issues. Dennis Kucinich said he is planning to use a parliamentary procedure to bring his impeachment bill, House Resolution 333, to the House floor for an up or down vote on whether his colleagues are willing to proceed with the steps to impeach the vice president for high crimes and misdemeanors, including deceiving the American people, manipulating intelligence, and violating his oath under the Constitution. Last week was another big week on the campaign trail for presidential candidate Dennis Kucinich as he visited 4 states in 4 days. At campaign appearances in Johnson County, Iowa, Los Angeles, Portland, and Albuquerque, Dennis brought crowds to their feet with his calls to end the war in Iraq, end trade agreements that have put millions of Americans out of work, and establish a national, not-for-profit healthcare system. In Iowa, he lit up the crowd of almost 2,000 local Democrats when he told them, "We have to end the war now. Not 2008, not 2013, but today." He said it's up to the Democratic Party to take a stand.
This campaign is about calling forth the courage of the American people to reject not just the occupation in Iraq, to reject not just a potential attack on Iraq, but to reject war as an instrument of policy. It is time that we reclaim our nation. We must recognize that we stand upon a philosophical wellspring of truth and freedom that is as old as and older than the United States itself. That this is a tradition that we're now called upon to be strong and affirming, and to not yield to the political conveniences of the moment. Standing on this stage facing you is the only person running for President of the United States, in either party for that matter, who is saying that it is time to end the hold which these private insurance companies have on our healthcare system. It's time for a single-payer, not-for-profit healthcare system, Medicare for all. Let's break the shackles which these insurance companies have on the American people. Are you ready for a not-for-profit healthcare system? Let them hear it in Washington.
In Los Angeles, he was the only presidential candidate to speak to a group of several hundred members of the Latino National Congreso, where he took aim at the president's immigration policies and the devastating effects that the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, have had on U.S. manufacturing jobs and the economy of Mexico.
Isn't it interesting how famous Ronald Reagan became for saying, Mr. Gorbachev, take down that wall. How far we've come from those days when President Reagan said, take down that wall, and President Bush says, build up a wall. Where are we going as a nation? I believe the way the immigrant community is treated, whether documented or not, reflects the direction and the future of America. Yeah.
This week, check your newsstands for the November issue of Esquire magazine, which is running an engaging 10-page story about Dennis. The headline? It's Kucinich time. It's about the presidential campaign, about the man himself, his Cleveland roots, and about his wonderful wife, partner, and trusted advisor, Elizabeth Kucinich. It should be out on the stands in the next day or two. On the lighter side, Dennis will be making his first appearance on The Colbert Report on Comedy Central tonight, Monday, October 15th. I think we'll all be in store for a few surprises and a lot of laughs. Well, that's been our Dennis Kucinich presidential update for this week. To stay informed on Dennis's progress, log on to www.dennisforpresident.com. That's Dennis4president.com.